Friends, I am Sarah-Nell Walsh, and if you haven't joined me before, I am a professional coach, a former practicing attorney, and the founder of Wayfinders LLC. Today, we're going to be talking about 5 ways that you can optimize career change. And really, how this came about is that I've been talking to so many of my clients over the past 9 to 10 weeks, and also with prospective clients. And we've discovered together that so many of us were living on autopilot, right? Until March 13th. I mean, I can even remember a time when I was practicing law, actually, to be honest, many times, where I would show up in the parking garage at my office and I wouldn't even remember how I got there. Have you ever done that? Where I'd pull into my parking spot and I would have no recollection over the past 45-minute commute, which is actually kind of scary, but leave that where it is. So many of us have been living on autopilot, and then COVID really shook us from this illusion of control that we had, and it made it impossible to continue living on autopilot. It just really wasn't an option anymore. COVID forced us to really slam our foot on the brakes and for our whole lives to come to a screeching halt. And that's been really scary for all of us. And the question that I want to ask you is, when you looked up, did you like what you saw? If you're like my clients, you may have discovered that your company's true values aren't what you thought they were. You know, the ones that they display on those glossy dossiers that they hand out are not maybe the ones that they've been living out during this crisis. And so you're seeing this disconnect between the values you thought your company had and the values your company really has. And maybe those values that your company really has aren't in alignment with yours. And that can be a hard thing to reckon with. You may have also realized that your company lacks leadership. Any leadership, much less the inspiring and visionary leadership that you crave, especially during a time like this. You know, I was speaking with Whitney Ott a couple weeks ago, who's a principal at Jackson Spalding, and I was thinking, man, what so many people wouldn't give to have her as their leader right now, right? She instilled so much confidence in the way that she's communicating with her team and the way that she communicated with us. And I know that that is lacking in so many of my clients' lives right now, and I'm sure so many of yours. And then maybe your unique talents and gifts and passions aren't being valued or utilized in your current role the way that you want them to be. And so now is really an opportunity to look at all of that, because, you know, every job is only perfect for so long. For most of us, a role or a career or a profession does not last our entire lifetime. And so whether you've been laid off or furloughed, or simply realized that you've outgrown your current profession, organization, or role, how can you optimize career change? And so that's what we're going to be talking about today. And I know that your friends and connections and contacts here on Facebook, that there are people who need to hear this message, who need to hear this message of hope, and need to hear this message of inspiration, and need to hear these very practical tips that I'm going to be sharing with you. So I'm going to ask you in the bottom right-hand corner of your screen to go ahead and hit share or start a watch party. And you know what's amazing? You can do this even if you're not watching it live. Woo! So go ahead and do that. Okay, so top 5 strategies for optimizing career change. And y'all, I just learned one of them today that I shared with my clients. So first of all, I would encourage you to embrace all your passions. You know, we are all multi-passionate and multi-talented individuals. And so if you're thinking about making a change, really explore as many different paths forward as you can think of. Have you always wanted to teach English in Korea, or take your Series 7, or become a human resources executive at a Fortune 50 company? Or maybe, like me, you've always dreamed about opening a coffee shop, right? Inside each of us, there are many different possible selves and many possible futures. And I would encourage you, if you can, to explore each one and decide which paths are better left as daydreams and which paths deserve and merit further exploration. So then the second tip that I have is to experiment. So to the extent that you have the opportunity to launch a side hustle or take a part-time position that allows you to explore some of your many passions, do it. Think about these experiments as low commitment ways to explore your passions, kind of like a choose your own adventure. So using the examples that I just outlined above, I've designed some experiments that you could try out if you've had some of these thoughts. So if you've always wanted to teach English in Korea, you might travel to Korea. Not right now, y'all. Not right now, but at some point in the future. You might learn Korean. You can do that right now. You could look up ways to get your visa to teach in Korea, or look up distance learning opportunities. Can you teach English in Korea from your home remotely? You might want to look into all these things. These are experiments you could run. If you've always thought about taking your Series 7s, you might research the prerequisites to taking the Series 7. Are you even eligible right now with the education you currently have? You can buy a Series 7 exam book and take some study guides. See if it's something you want to explore further. If you have always dreamed of working in HR at a Fortune 50 company, you can talk to people who work at the company, right? Research HR job openings in general and see if your skills are a good match or if you would need further education. And you can also get involved with the Society for Human Resource Management, which I call SHROOM, but that is not actually their acronym. I learned that in working with a labor and employment attorney. Okay, and if you've always dreamed like me of opening a coffee shop, you might be able to work part-time or even just on Saturdays or Sundays at a coffee shop and learn as much as you can about their operations and brainstorm what you would do the same and what you would do differently, and whether or not that is sufficient running the revenue from running a coffee shop for your lifestyle. So those are some experiments that you can run, because when people first told me to experiment with jobs I might want, I was like, I don't even know what an experiment looks like, y'all. I am a lawyer, right? I do not run experiments, and I did not take any science in college for a reason. So those are some ideas for you. And then third, I would highly encourage you to create new networks. Do not rely on the network you currently have, because the network you currently have is for the position and the role that you currently have. And if you want a different position or a new role, you should create a new network. And it will give you access to a whole new constellation of opportunity. So you can join a professional organization for the new industry that you want to be engaged in and really get involved. You can schedule informational interviews with people who have your dream job and ask them, what did you do to get here? How did you get on this path? What qualifications did you have? What learning did you do, right? And y'all, this is scary. It can seem really bold to reach out to someone on LinkedIn and say, can I talk to you for 15 minutes? Because you have my dream job and I would love to learn more about it. But you know what? Folks love talking about their jobs, especially if they're passionate about it. And all the people, all the coaches that I reached out to when I was thinking about making a career change were extremely generous with their times. And if you can find an extrovert, this might actually be a public service opportunity, because my extrovert friends would love to talk to someone about the jobs that they are passionate about, especially right now. So these people might be able to accelerate your journey, or they might keep you from choosing the wrong path. Either way, it is worth your investment of time. And then the third little practical tip about creating new networks would be to join a networking group or a professional organization where you are a total unknown. And this allows you to let go of your prior identity and really to focus on and cultivate the identity you want to take on, right? It's been so interesting as I've joined networking groups as a coach, how people see me so differently than the networking groups that I was a part of when I was an attorney and then transitioned into being a coach, even in the way they describe, right, what I do. People in my networking groups where I had been a lawyer, they always lead with, Sarah-Nell used to be an attorney at big log firm, right? Whereas these groups that I'm a part of that only know me as a coach, they introduce me as Sarah-Nell's the founder of Wayfinders and a professional coach. So they just see me so differently depending on when I joined these different networking groups. My fourth tip, which I just learned today, is to be a purple squirrel. And what this means is to brand yourself with your unique combination of talents, gifts, skills, and passions, right? And to be unique. And so how you do this, and if anyone's interested, I can send you the article that I have adapted this from, but collect 5 to 10 job opportunities that you just absolutely love and copy these job postings into a word cloud creator to see which keywords are common among them. And then use those keywords in your LinkedIn profile, in your resume, and in your cover letter to set yourself apart. Y'all, branding matters, and branding matters a lot when you're looking for a new position, okay? And then the fifth piece of advice that I would give you is carpe diem. You know, I tell my clients all the time, action begets action. You are not going to think your way into a new way of being. You are going to act your way into a new way of being. And windows of opportunity do not open very often. So when they do, you need to be ready to move. And if you linger too long, those windows could close back up again. So each of us goes through periods when we're highly receptive to change, and other times when even the slightest deviation from routine can knock us off kilter. And you know what? It is okay if you find yourself right now in either camp, and it is totally understandable either way. So I have just thrown a lot of information at you about 5 different ways that you can optimize career change, and I'll go through them all once again, just in case you missed it at the beginning. 1, embrace all your many passions. 2, experiment with new ways of being and with new potential paths. 3, create new networks of people. 4, be a purple squirrel and really brand yourself as the unique, capable human being that you are. And 5, carpe diem, action begets action. So y'all, I am currently forming a new group coaching program for folks who find themselves exactly in this position. It was not something that I planned on doing, but it's something that I feel called to do given the circumstances that so many people find themselves in. So if you are interested, please feel free to reach out by DM or through my website. It is so new that I don't even have a launch date. I'm trying to figure out what date works best for some folks who have said that they're interested. So I don't have a launch date. I don't have a day of the week. I don't have a time. I don't have anything to share except for the fact that this has been on my heart and I want to serve in this way. And so if you are interested, please, please, please reach out to me. And if you think that this would be beneficial to someone that you know, please have them reach out to me. So I'm going to leave you with this question. What future self is worth exploring now? What future self is worth exploring now? I hope you all have a great evening. I am not going to be back all next week. You get a break from my Facebook Lives because it is my birthday, it is my anniversary, and it's a short week. So I am taking next week off from Facebook Live, and I will see y'all the first week of June. Take care.